The story unfolds when a young boy heads home, answering a call amidst the background noise of people leaving the building. Suddenly, two girls accidentally bump into him, causing them all to fall. An ominous man approaches with a knife, threatening to harm the girls. In a brave attempt to save them, the knife inadvertently strikes the man, leading to his demise. As Cain opens his eyes, he finds himself reincarnated in a completely different world, now bearing the name Cain. His full name is Cain von Silford, and his father, Garm, serves as a defender of the city, protecting the kingdom of Esford from potential threats like demons and monsters dwelling in the nearby forest. At the young age of 3, Cain is eager to explore the wonders of this new world, especially the use of magic, which is entirely different from what he knew on Earth. Cain believes that to succeed in this world, he must seek knowledge. Cain swimmingly passes the problems and appears to be a gifted scholar. Upon inquiring his father, Cain comes to know that he will be baptized at the age of 5, which may allow him to use magic. However, Cain is eager to get his hands on the magical gimmicks. The story then jumps 2 years ahead, and Cain is about to be baptized. He is thrilled to explore the outside world because of the magic, monsters, and other exciting things he likes. After the ceremony, he is taken to the 7 pillars of gods. Reinna discloses his death in the past life, which saddens him deeply. Upon his death, the god of Earth asked Reinna to reincarnate him, while the other gods equip him with powers beyond imagination. During the celebration, people come to know that Cain possessed superpower bestowed on him by the 7 gods, bearing the magic power of level 35,000. Garm insists on keeping Cain's true abilities a secret. In his bedroom, Cain studies a magic book and tries to use magic. He faces a monster with Reinna. His first attempt fails, but he eventually kills the monster with his magic. A ceremony is held to introduce Cain to many people. Garm introduces him as his 3rd son, denying him the inheritance. Nevertheless, Cain declares his desire to explore the world and become an adventurer. Cain's excitement to become an adventurer leads to the hiring of tutors Millie and Mina. Eager to learn, Cain embarrassingly falls on them but quickly apologizes. Amazed by Cain's swordsmanship, they begin his training. Cain reveals he was recently baptized and possesses extra power hidden on his father's orders. Nina starts teaching him magic, but Cain claims to know it all. Shocked by his immense power, they realize they have little left to teach him. Cain seeks permission to venture outside for more learning. Accompanied by Nina and Millie, they train in the forest. During their practice, they are attacked by a monster, but Cain easily defeats it and stores it in his item box, impressing his tutors. As Cain's power level increases, he becomes concerned about hiding his abilities from others for his safety. 3 years pass, and Cain's training comes to an end. He gifts Nina and Millie magic bags made from monster materials. While hunting dragons, Garm, Cain's father, becomes upset about Cain's actions. Cain expresses his gratitude to Nina and Millie for their help. In the end, Cain faces Garm's anger as he lectures him about being cautious and considerate of his unique qualities. Despite the challenges, Cain remains determined to pursue his dream of becoming a great adventurer. As Cain fights and defeats a monster, he is astonished to find his power has exceeded 80 million. However, they continue their journey towards the royal capital. Later, Cain's father reveals that Cain will be admitted to the school once he turns 12. During his trip, Cain senses a fight nearby and rushes to help despite his father sending men to handle it. He arrives at the site and finds only 2 knights remaining. Cain steps up for the cause and saves Princess Talita by defeating the monsters. As a reward for his bravery, Cain is invited to join Princesses Silk and Talistia in their carriage. Upon reaching the capital, they settle down, and the princesses express concern about their safety from monsters. Cain insists on staying in the same room to protect them. The next day, a boy from the royal capital thanks Cain for saving the princesses and the knights' bodies. Cain is introduced to the king, who appreciates his heroism and rewards him generously. The king even offers Cain a mansion, but some people express concern about such gifts for a 10-year-old. However, the king believes that the kingdom needs someone as powerful as Cain and proposes a surprising idea: to get engaged to Princesses Silk and Talistia with marriage plans for the future. Both princesses show their interest in marrying him, and Cain, taken aback, eventually accepts the offer. Seeking answers about his existence and this immense power, Cain reaches out to the 7 gods. The gods respond that Cain is the most powerful person in the world, and as he grows older, experience will be his guide to harnessing it. The revelations does not end here. Gods even suggest that he has the potential to become a demigod. Entertaining himself with memories of his old world, Cain is shown feeling awkward around girls in a shop, particularly Reinna, and decides to leave. Outside, he reunites with Palma, whose unique ears resemble those of a cat. She reveals that she is training at her Uncle Tommy's shop. Cain shares an idea with her uncle, and they develop a product named Reversy. Cain presents it to the gods, ensuring its exclusivity for 3 years. Impressing the king, Cain and his team create a special product for him. During the ceremony, Cain's charm shines as he flirts with Princess Silk, setting him apart from typical 10-year-olds. However, challenges arise when 3 boys, one being the son of a previous rebel, confront him. Fearless, Cain defeats them using his magic, leaving Silk intrigued but wary of his darker side. Later, Telestia joins them and they playfully discuss going on a date, but Cain's mood shifts when the king unexpectedly arrives, questioning their conversation. As a baron, Cain must navigate responsibilities, managing his mansion and reputation as a powerful individual. Cain receives a map to his mansion from the minister, and he's informed that the king wants to play with him. Eric challenges Cain to a game of reverie, and he accepts, with many others joining in the fun. Later, Cain heads towards his mansion and is surprised to find it in poor condition. Using magic, he transforms it into a wonderful place. Sylvia arrives at the mansion with 3 maids, but to her surprise, everything's already spotless. They gather around the dining table, and Cain's brother marvels at his rapid rise. Excitement fills the air as they explore every room of the magnificent mansion. Suddenly, a red dragon appears, but Cain swiftly deals with it. They decide to keep it as a unique decoration, a symbol of Cain's strength. With the mansion in order, Cain plans a grand party and worries about arrangements and gifts. Sylvia suggests he create something himself, and Cain crafts beautiful, shining glasses. The party day arrives, and the mansion comes alive. The food and drinks are a hit, and Sylvia loves everything. Cain's reputation soars, solidifying his place in this new world. His journey has just begun, becoming a beacon of hope for those around him. Later, Cain invites the king to his palace, and the king eventually accepts his proposal. The party guests arrive, including the king. The guests appear to be very pleased by the outlook of his mansion and the tasty cuisine in the banquet. The king cannot himself to appreciate the glasses is pleased with the glasses. The king even asks Cain to create a similar washroom for his mansion. Corgino is also amongst the guests at the party, and Cain presents him the offerings for the party. The king rebukes Corgino for looking down on someone and reminds him about the behavior the king accepts from a marquis. Cain is the person who saved his daughter, and Corgino apologizes for his insolent behavior towards Cain. Cain confidently approaches Vice Captain Dane, revealing the monster materials from the incident when he bravely saved Princess Telestia and her friend Silk from the Red Dragon. The Vice Captain is left trembling in shock as Cain displays the massive remains of the defeated 30 giant orcs. Their sheer size is overwhelming, a testament to Cain's exceptional strength and bravery during the intense battle. When Cain attempts to sneak out of the scene, the Vice Captain impels him to fight one of his knights in a mock battle. Cain defeats the knight in a blink of an eye, and the Vice Captain probes if Cain is a hero or a demigod because his powers are beyond comprehension. The captain appears in the training field and scolds her subordinates for picking on a poor little boy. However, the Vice Captain clarifies her misconceptions and discloses that this kid just killed 30 orcs, including red dragons. Intrigued by his power, Captain Tefana challenges Cain for a duel. Amidst the expectations, Cain initially makes the captain a run for the money and ends up winning the duel. The Vice Captain, the strongest knight of the kingdom, had been waiting for this moment, and she quickly proposes to Cain. Her subordinates stare at Tefana dumbfoundedly as she goes gaga over the kid. Considering Cain's reluctance to respond to her proposal, she drags Cain to his majesty. The emperor flits on his head, hearing this revelation, and calls for an explanation from Cain. Cain, on the other hand, does not have the slightest idea of her feelings. The emperor then briefs Cain on how the elves were treated in the past until the kingdom of Esfort took their state under the capital's protection, allowing them their due rights in consideration of the first king's value. Tefana now holds the title of the princess. A proposal coming from a princess is no ordinary thing by any means, however. He is already engaged to Princess Telestia and Duke's daughter Silk. As King continuously ponders the reason for Cain's immense power and his ability to read a mysterious book, Cain decides to reveal his true identity. He confides in the king that he has been reincarnated from Earth and hails from a country called Japan, just like their first prince. Cain further shares that the 7 gods disclosed his true identity on his baptism day, and ever since the ceremony he has been in contact with the divine beings. The revelation leaves the king and those around him in awe and amazement at the enigma of Cain's origins and powers. Cain is in the library when he surprisingly comes across a Japanese book written by the first king of the world, Yuiatara Harisa, who also came from Earth. Suddenly, Tails and Silk bump into the library and swirl around Cain, who escapes the library to avoid them. On his way, Cain finds Tefana hurrying onto him. She invites her fiancé for a mock battle, but Cain has his eyes set on registering as an adventurer as he turns 12 today. Licia, the receptionist, welcomes Cain and completes the formal process of registration. As a beginner in the career, Cain has been awarded a G rank. In an instant, a menacing group of scoundrels surrounds poor Licia, attempting to harass her. Just as they close in, a brave figure steps forward, Cain, who valiantly stands up to protect her. Undeterred, the scoundrels attack Cain, but he moves with masterful agility, dodging their every blow. However, the tide of the fight suddenly shifts as Claude, a legendary A-ranked adventurer, intervenes to save both Cain and Licia from the clutches of the scoundrels. Impressed with Cain's abilities, Claude offers a round of drinks, obviously a jar of fruit juice for mere 12-year kid Cain. Their friendly chat comes to an abrupt halt as Claude's wife, Lena, another renowned and highly ranked adventurer, storms into the bar. With an exasperated expression, she grabs Claude by the arm and scolds him for his reckless behavior. Claude, slightly embarrassed, follows his wife. Kane chooses arguably the toughest quest for a G-ranked adventurer to eliminate hordes of goblins. Typhena finds him heading for the caves and sides with Kane. The quest turns out to be a piece of cake for Kane, who swimmingly proceeds to slice the goblins effortlessly. However, menacing green lizards appear out of nowhere to complicate the proceedings for Kane, who responds with smashing them with him ice pillar magic. Hearing about Kane's incredible feat, Licia cannot hold herself from calling on Chief Cedric. Shockingly, Cedric accuses Kane of plotting the quest in an attempt to swindle the guild for money. However, his accusations are short-lived when the guild master joins their argument and discloses Kane's true identification. One after the other, every revelation falls on Cedric's head like a blast, and he quickly kneels before Kane, begging for mercy. Kane, in response, is kind enough to instantly forgive Cedric. The next day, maid Sylvia wakes Kane up and apologizes for being late on such an important day for Kane. Today, Kane is appearing in the Royal Academy examination. As he reaches the academy, Kane is allocated serial number 285, seat 10 in Class A for the exam, where teacher Elka Van Porte is supervising. The exam proves a piece of cake for someone well familiar with basic knowledge. Kane completes the exam in less than half time. They proceed to the next round, where participants demonstrate their magical abilities. On his turn for the test, Kane flips the examiners on their heads when he rattles the structure of the academy with his fierce display of magic. Upon conclusion of the second round, the participants head for the last part of the exam, where the physical endurance of the participants is tested against the A-ranked adventurers. To Kane's surprise, Claude is also among the participants in the final exam's adventurer teams. Despite Kane's reluctance to fight, Claude insists on having a mock battle with him. Unable to refuse a friend's request, Kane reluctantly agrees. The fight proves to be even more intense than they had anticipated. Caught in a flurry of attacks from Claude, Kane musters his courage and puts on a formidable display. Later in the day, Kane is called upon by the Crown, who scolds Kane for messing up the exam. It turns out that Kane entered from the wrong side of the entrance and ended up taking the exam with commoners. However, the matter is resolved by Crown Rex Terra Esfort's involvement, and Kane proves to be the topper of the exam. Kane offers a graceful speech before the guests as a topper and apologizes for the confusion. Later in the school, Kane finds his friend Palma bullied by the nobles. They harass Palma for her peasant class. However, Kane steps up to the matter and claims to be Palma's friend. Tells and Silk also side with Kane, and they manage to drive off the nobles. Meanwhile, Kane is intrigued by the mysterious voice in his head, guiding him to the library. He follows the lead, and as he enters the vast library, where Kane comes across the first person from the earth, the king of this world. Kane flips on his head when he uses judgment to ascertain the traits. Yuya Hirasawa is the god of creation in this world. He has created this world, and surprisingly, even after 300 years, he still looks nothing old than a boy. Yuya Hirasawa discloses that Old Zenom and others have requested him to train Kane for the coming challenges. Soon, Kane will be fighting the evil god Aaron. Back in the past, Yuya Hirasawa defeated Aaron and incarcerated him into a seal, but the seal now weakening, and Aaron is expected to burst out the seams soon. Being a god in this world, Yuya Hirasawa can longer meddle in the affairs, therefore he chose Kane to fight with Aaron. To prepare for the threats, Yuya Hirasawa puts Kane through a series of tests. Initially, Kane is tasked to survive in the jungle surrounded by beasts and reach the mansion safely. As Kane slices through the monster, his fellows are intrigued by his disappearance and look for him everywhere. Meanwhile, Kane begins to exhaust. He has been fighting the beast without a night of sleep for months, but there is no end to beasts coming at him. This is when Kane finds a magical familiar Haku. Kane saves his life, and in return, Haku helps Kane complete the mission. Kane inquires about the questions running through his mind on how his fight with Aaron is related to his past, but his master asks him to go through endurance tests against Durain before he answers the question. After training with Durain for months, Kane finally overcomes Durain, and simultaneously, Yuya Hirasawa reveals that he is a friend of Kane's parents who lost their lives fighting against Aaron. Kane decides to fight against Aaron to the fullest of his abilities and avenge his parents' death. Moreover, he aspires to save the people he loves. He came to this mansion alone, but Kane has Haku and Gina, the two magical familiars, on his return. On his return from the god of creation's world, Kane appears before the Crown regarding his disappearance. The Crown does not believe in his assertion of being with the god of creation for training, but the katana belonging to the first king convinces him. However, the claim of training for 5 years is still deemed outlandish, as he has been missing for roughly 5 days in this world. Kane is intimated by the guild's inclination to revoke his registration for his continuous absence from the quest. Kane hurries to the guild and accepts the quest without any hesitation, where he is tasked to subjugate bandits and bring them to judgment. The bandit is lurking around the way to residence near Gracia. Cain traces out the bandits but is shocked to find his childhood masters, Mina and Millie, both up against the bandits. Millie has sustained some injuries in the fight, and without much delay, Cain lashes on the bandits and beats them up swimmingly. The growth of their disciple, Cain, is so remarkable that it's hard for both Claude and Lena to believe. To their surprise, Cain reveals that he is now an A-ranked adventurer. Upon returning to the city, Cain is warmly welcomed by Palma for saving her father from the bandits. Later at the guild, Claude reveals an astonishing fact. Cain's childhood master, Millie, is his younger sister. They celebrate this unexpected connection with drinks and boast about their achievements. The next day, the esteemed guild adventurer Claude and his family bump into the school to familiarize the students with the guild. The concealed motive of their visit is to help out Cain and portray him as a hero among other students. But Cain's reluctance to come forward does not help their cause. The entire empire trembles in fear when Cain's father sends a fearful message warning of the possible appearance of the Prince of Darkness. However, the truth is far less sinister. It was Cain who expressed his frustration at the dangerous beasts in the jungle. In the menacing mountains where darkness holds sway, the seal that has imprisoned Aaron is weakening, and he is poised to unleash his brutal attacks on humanity. Cain is prohibited from demonstrating his magical abilities amongst the students, but he is unexpectedly allowed to demonstrate the summoning magic in Grat's class. One after the other, the students summon their familiars, some successful and some not. Now is the turn for Cain flips the entire empire on its head when he calls upon the Prince of Darkness as his familiar and even succeeds in framing a contract with him. The Emperor cannot stop himself from calling on Cain and asks him to display his skill set. Shockingly, Cain has evolved to a demigod status. The Emperor promotes him as a count and promises to allocate a dominion. He is welcomed by his brother Jin in their hometown of Gracia. Jin anxiously explains a raising concern. There have been cases where the high-rank adventurers have been seriously injured by the growing number of monsters. Jin's fears that these are signs of an onslaught. His brother, the A-ranked adventurer Cain, does not hold himself back and decides to investigate his familiars. Meanwhile, Claude and his fellow adventurer reach the city on the capital's request to handle the matter, which seems to be getting out of their hands. Seath, the Prince of Darkness, keenly senses the presence of an immensely powerful entity approaching. His trusted aide, Dalmatia, scars the forest and delivers a chilling warning of an impending menace, accompanied by high-ranked monsters. Cain and his fellow familiars continue to stride towards Aaron's place as they head closer. The sense of a menacing presence strengthens. Seth decides to stay back and handle the monsters with his friends. Meanwhile, Cain heads forward to his biggest challenge, the challenge which he was trained for. The gods' chosen steps into his toughest battle. Typhona and her knights safely guide citizens to a safe place. Meanwhile, Millie, Mina, Claude, and Lena get themselves ready to jump into the village flooded with monsters. The primary concern for them is the rising number of monsters. The much-anticipated battle between Aaron and Cain unfolds, with Aaron disdainfully dismissing Cain's attacks as pathetic. However, everything changes dramatically when Aaron targets Cain's beloved familiars. Consumed by rage and determined to protect the ones he loves, Cain unleashes his full potential, mounting a fierce counterattack against the rogue god. Eventually, Cain appears victorious and ends up saving the entire world from the rage of Aaron. Upon the conclusion of battle, the crown announces him Viscount of Duranthal, moreover, announces the marriage of Cain and Telestia, his daughter. Cain, on the other hand, enters his new territory as a commoner, where the guild adventurers are not shy of springing their ambush on Cain. However, Cain disguises himself as a peasant and strolls through the streets to assess the law and order. As time progresses, Cain begins the state into a well-crafted territory of his own.